What's going on? Vincent Rappisardi, Big Blue Unbiased.com. The Giants fell to the Chicago Bears 17-13 on Sunday, and I want to talk about it. Do a quick recap. Later in the week, we'll talk analytics from the game. We'll watch some game film and all that stuff, but for now, just a quick recap. Let's start with the offense. Let's start with the offensive line. Khalil Mack, 7 quarterback pressures, pressure percentage over 20% in Sunday's game. Rob Quinn, 4 pressures, quarterback pressures over 20% as well, pressure percentage. So they both played very well. Great players, right? But let's talk about Andrew Thomas. He didn't play very well. He allowed a good amount of quarterback pressures, and even the sack he gave up on Rob Quinn, the fumble of Daniel Jones, I don't even blame him on that. I'm not even going to blame him for that, but overall gave up a lot of pressures. Daniel Jones needs to get rid of the football. I'll talk about that later in the video. But there was also a play where Andrew Thomas, the ball was snapped. He wasn't even looking. It was later in the game, fourth quarter. Overall, just allowed a ton of pressures. When he was drafted, I said I would start him at, unless he was outstanding in camp, I would start him at right tackle and then ease him over to left tackle, because left tackle, as we know, is known to be a tougher position. There's more expectations. It's the blind side of the quarterback. That's why everyone says, right, franchise left tackle. I haven't seen anyone say the Giants drafted Andrew Thomas to be the franchise right tackle. I said since day one I would start him at right tackle for his development. Not that he can't. Maybe he can play left tackle day one and he's great, but at that point, I was saying I just wouldn't rush him. He's the 4th overall pick. The left tackle position is a position that Giants fans have been talking about for years and years and years. A lot of expectations, high expectations. So I said I wouldn't. I would start him at right tackle just because take the pressure off him a little bit, just kind of ease him into action. And he didn't play well today. And apparently his run blocking wasn't great either. And months ago, there was a Twitter beef where I thought, the Giants shouldn't rush Andrew Thomas, and to some people that was a crazy idea. I don't know why it's so crazy. I didn't say Andrew Thomas was a bad player or a bad pick. I just said I wouldn't rush him. I would start him at right tackle, take the pressure off him a little bit. It's playing left tackle for the New York Giants, 4th overall pick. There's a lot of pressure. So now the Giants have to hope this doesn't snowball. Like, bad performances don't snowball. And like I've said this on YouTube, I've said it on Twitter, the offensive line in general, the left tackle position, it's not like wide receiver or running back or even quarterback. Okay? You could be a wide receiver who drops 3 passes in a first half, but in the second half you catch 7 passes and you catch 2 touchdowns and people forget. The offensive line is not like that. You give up a sack or 2 in a game and it's like, wow, that's a bad game. Remember the sack he gave up? Remember how terrible block and Daniel Jones got destroyed and he fumbled the football? That's what people remember. They remember the sacks. It's tough to remember the good blocks. People usually don't do that. Right? It's just not that kind of a position. It's a thankless position. So if every week, let's just say Andrew Thomas is giving up a sack or giving up a ton of pressures, eventually it adds up and people are going to pile on and say, wow, is Andrew Thomas, is that a good pick? Is he even good? So my point was not to rush him. Not to rush him to play a premier position. That's one of the toughest positions on the field. It's tough to find good left tackles. No preseason action, 4th overall pick. It's just something I wouldn't have done. So let's talk about Daniel Jones. He averaged 6 yards per attempt. So the Giants lacked any playmaking ability down the field. They were not able to stretch the field in any way. It's concerning, obviously. It's very concerning because that's not what the Giants' offense is supposed to be. And I have to look at the advanced metrics and look at the time to throw for Daniel Jones in week 2. But it seemed like there were many points where he was getting rid of the football, very quick, short passes, and it kind of reminds me of Eli Manning in the older years of Eli, where it was just get the football out as quick as possible and throw a 4-yard pass. And, it's one thing if you're Drew Brees, you're Tom Brady, and your precision is just off the charts. But Daniel Jones is not that kind of player. He's a player who does take risks. He throws the football downfield. So a game like this is concerning. Not just for him, but overall the style of what kind of offense the Giants want to be. Are they the previous Jason Garrett Dallas Cowboys 2019 offense where Dak Prescott was among the league leaders in completed air yards and intended air yards, top 6 in both categories? Or are they going to be like this dink and dunk, get the football out as quick as possible, average 6 yards per attempt kind of team? Now, again, I have to look at the time to throw, but it seemed like in general they weren't taking any risks downfield, and that's concerning. Also, Andrew Thomas allowed a sack, but I really think that was on Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones held onto the football way too long. Fumble, Bears recovered. That's a big issue. Now it's really starting to add up. It's not just fumbles. It's pocket awareness. I think you have to wonder if Daniel Jones, his pocket awareness is there. Awareness is one of those things, it's kind of either you have it or you don't. I'm not saying you can't improve on it at all, but usually you either have it or you don't. And his pocket awareness was not good as a rookie last year, and so far, I haven't seen much of an improvement. So that fumble, I'm not going to blame Andrew Thomas. That was on Daniel Jones. He has to get rid of the football. He has to have better pocket awareness. The Giants also had some really tough injury breaks. Saquon Barkley looks like he's going to be off the rest of the year. Torn ACL, it looks like that. That is not good news for the Giants. Sterling Shepard got hurt as well. Lots of injuries on the Giants offense over the past few years. Evan Engram did not have a catch in the first half, had 6 in the second half, so maybe that's something he can build on. I said in my pregame live stream, I thought Evan Engram, this was his game. He's got to step up. 2 catches week 1. Definitely helped your fantasy lineup. 6 catches, not too bad for a tight end. Something to build on moving forward for Evan Engram. So let's talk about the Giants' defense. Their run defense was, they allowed 4.2 yards per carry. Not impressed with them. Not impressed with their run defense. Blake Martinez led the Giants in tackles, again with 8 tackles. James Bradberry, though, was the guy who stood out. 4 passes defended. He had an interception. He forced an interception with great coverage. James Bradberry is a lockdown corner. You look at the advanced metrics from last year. He was outstanding. His football IQ is off the charts. Okay, I said this in my pregame show, my pregame live stream. Hopefully you check that out next week. His IQ's off the charts. He forced a fumble in week 1, 2 passes defended, 1 he knocked out of James Washington's hands, and this week 4 passes defended, and his interception was, it was amazing. That's a great play. Football IQ is off the charts with James Bradberry. So overall, the Giants, the offensive line's got to improve. Not looking too great so far through 2 weeks. Daniel Jones has to improve as well. Let's see if they try and throw the football down the field in week 3. Against the San Francisco 49ers. The Giants defense allowed 17 points. I think their secondary played really well in the second half at 2 interceptions. Something to build off. I think a really positive performance for the defense. But overall, the Giants fall to 0-2. Let's see if they can rebound in week 3.